Hello everyone, I am Idona John Baptist with the Channel 5 News. The headlines. Prime Minister Skerrit open to discussion on medical marijuana. Government presents $1 million to State College to cover student fees. And NCCU Lipso in-house audition carded for Saturday. The details of the news after this.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth or call 445-5001 275-5003 today.
First up, Prime Minister Skerrit says he supports marijuana use for religious purposes, but government has many aspects to consider when it comes to legalizing it. Mr. Skerrit, while criticizing the opposition leader on Carrie's Next Level show on Tuesday night, says Mr. Lennox Linton does not understand the issue. The country's leader explained that aside from the consideration of allowing small quantities of marijuana for personal use, we have to be careful of the consequences of trafficking and selling the drug. On the other hand, he says the citizenry will have to explore the medicinal benefits of marijuana.
There are many people in this country who have proclaimed that marijuana oil is helping them fight cancer and to treat with issues relating to the suffering from cancer. And I believe that the country, the citizens of Dominica, need to seriously engage on this matter of marijuana for medicinal purposes. But you cannot just take a decision and leave it like that. There are a number of other aspects one has to consider. The issue of how do you grow it, under what conditions do you grow it, the issue of licenses, the issue of permits. Where can you buy it? Who can sell it? Who can grow it? There are a number of things in terms of legislation and regulation that you will have to look at.
On the issue of use of the drug for religious purposes, Mr. Skerrit says he supports that for the benefit of the Rastafarian community.
My comrades in the House of Naya being gay, I have had opportunities to visit them at the Tabernacle and to engage them in discussions about their livelihoods, their contribution to Dominica, their views on Dominica, and how we can work together to build this country. I've had the opportunity to meet with elders in there and reason with them on a number of occasions. And I believe, myself personally, from a philosophical standpoint, I believe that we need to allow people who are registered as Rastafarians in certain localities, certain areas, for where they practice the religion, to be allowed to use this for religious purposes. You understand? But of course, all that too would have to be properly managed and so forth.
The Prime Minister says he would not want to impose his personal view on the public and would prefer a multi-sectoral and regional approach to the matter.
I don't see any political benefit to be had from this at all. This is a discussion which we should have in an open and a transparent way, that ideas contend, and at the end of the day we have a consensus on these issues. Because we also have to understand, and this is the problem Colorado is having and many states are having. So you have a situation where the state of Colorado is legal, but there are states bounding with Colorado where it's not legal. And you have situations where people buy this substance in marijuana in Colorado and drive to another state and get arrested because it is not legal, because in the United States of America it is still against federal law. So I believe that this discussion must not only be a Dominica-centered discussion, it must be a regional discussion, because we will have to have a regional approach to this.
In related news, leader of the Dominica Freedom Party has weighed in on the most recent discussion on the decriminalization of marijuana. In recent weeks, advocates for the legalization of marijuana and members of government have spoken out on the issue, especially as research continues to bring to light more positive uses for the plant. Kent Vital, who heads the Dominica Freedom Party, says while the party has not released an official stance on the issue, they are progressive thinkers and would not be opposed to looking at the benefits of decriminalization of marijuana for Dominicans.
We rethink for things carefully, and we think of things where the people benefit. Now, the whole area of marijuana has been an area in recent times that globally, in the US and elsewhere, new lights and new realities have come to the fore. And one would be foolish not to recognize that there's fresh and new information. If you really understand the Rastafarian community and what they have been saying over the years, I mean, one of the things you remember, they talk about the herb as the healing of the nation. It looks like research is beginning to show that there are very, very, very many positive, great uses of marijuana for medical purposes.
Vital pointed out that the world is embracing the benefits of marijuana use and Dominica should follow suit.
If this plant has very, very useful properties, it should be exploited by the world. And so we are for that. We are not against that, but that's a discussion that has been happening over the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years internationally. So we also know that some of our Caribbean brothers and sisters are moving down that line. We are aware that Antigua have gone down that line. We are aware that Jamaica have gone down that line. We are aware that there's a strong discussion in St. Vincent and the Grenadines along that line. And therefore, we are definitely not opposed to it. As we seek to exploit opportunities in the health food market, and I would include marijuana there. If we seek to exploit opportunities, what we have to do is begin to ensure that we exploit it in such a way that our people are the beneficiaries.
On the issue of criminal records for those caught with small amounts of the drug on their person, he agrees that this too should be revised.
The issue of sending persons to jails for relatively small amounts of marijuana, that is something I personally believe that we have to relook this. Because it's, first of all, it's a nuisance in terms of the energy and the time spent chasing small amounts of marijuana. It's definitely a nuisance. You're also putting a criminal record on young persons, and you're making their lives a little more difficult going forward. So definitely. And then the truth is, if you compare pure marijuana, the use of marijuana, with the use of alcohol, I would tell you we have a tremendous problem with alcohol use on our hands. Tremendous problem. So when we think through the wrong use of drugs, we must also think through putting mechanisms in place to ensure that there's no abuse of marijuana.
In other news, over $1 million paid to the Dominica State College to clear debts of all current students who owe money to the institution.
Prime Minister Skerrit made the payment on Wednesday following a promise he made while on the Kyrie FM's Next Level program in May, saying that the government would clear the debts of all students who owe the college as they were prevented from writing exams due to their arrears.
There were negotiations back and forth and reconciling of accounts. And of the registrar and the staff able to conclude on how much the students owe the college, I believe as of 31 May 2018. And we came up to $1,015.04.
Skerrit reaffirmed the government's commitment to the education sector, saying the education of the youth is of utmost importance to the future of the country.
We cannot stop education. We cannot close the college. We cannot close schools. These things are too important in a society to close it. And this is why one of the firm commitments this government gave to the citizens of Dominica is that no matter how difficult things are with the government where money is concerned, no matter how many demands that are at the feet of the government, especially after Maria, we are not going to cut $1 from education and ensuring our children stay in school. So it is not that we do not have all the uses for the money, but because we understand that keeping you in school is critically important.
Meantime, President of the DSC, Dr. Donald Peters, says government's contribution to the college is unprecedented, and currently the policy of preventing students who owe money from writing exams has been changed.
Government's contribution to this college is unparalleled in the history of the country, in that since I've been here, government has been funding at least 90% of the cost of running this institution. This is important for those in our country to know that in the real world, governments do not fund more than 60%, and that is in the biggest developing country. So the burden on government has been significant. I just wanted the people of Dominica to understand that currently our policy is students will be allowed to take the exam no matter whether they owe $1 million like now or $5.
Prime Minister Skerrit also announced on Wednesday that Donald Peters was appointed Ambassador at Large for Education. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
Over 200 houses have been re-roofed in the Portsmouth area, with hundreds more to go.
That's the objective of the Samaritan's Purse-led re-roofing and shelter project in the north of the country. At the start of the project, limited labor and building supplies proved problematic. However, area coordinator Stephen Edwards says thus far, almost 50 people have been employed on the project, and while there is room for more laborers, things are progressing smoothly.
We now have 9 roofing teams that are comprised of 5 or 6 people that are based in Portsmouth. All of those are local hires. Again, some of the hires are from various parts of Dominica, but they're all based in Portsmouth now for working. So we have 49, I believe, staff members on our roofing teams. And then we are contracting, doing construction contractors to do the shelter constructions that we're doing. So those are six construction teams that are not on staff, but we're contracting local labor to do that instead. In total, as of Friday last week, we've completed 200 roof repairs in and around the Portsmouth area and built 80 core shelters in and around that area as well.
Approximately 500 households are expected to benefit from this project, which spans Benz to Portsmouth and up to Capuchin.
Our hope is to get 500 to 600 in total with this program, which I should mention is funded by USAID. That shelter program is not funded by Samaritan's Purse. But essentially like the redo the framework for the roof and get it to the point where that person is able to have a better roofing structure going forward in the future. And that framework is again lining up the Dominican housing standards, and it's hurricane resistant, as we say, and everything's hopefully it puts those people in a better place going forward than they were previously.
According to Edwards, the core shelters will also be up to government standards for climate-resilient structures.
The person would be someone whose home was completely destroyed, and now they have a foundation. So it's not a shelter for the community. It is for a specific family to kind of start building their home back. So it's on the foundation where their home used to be, and it's from a structural perspective, it lines up with the Dominican housing standards, but it is kind of the core of that, as in it's not a full home, it's just one room that they can then build off of and expand on in the future once they're ready to do it.
The area coordinator revealed that while most of the initial obstacles have been dealt with, there are still challenges in executing this project due to its scope.
One of the main ones is still logistics, getting material to the island and finding all the tools and equipment that we need. Like we've thankfully what's available here is increasing a lot and has increased a lot since January for sure. But still at the scope that we're doing things, and given the demand that is here, of course, for building materials, it's still difficult to find. So yeah, it's challenging getting things through here. I mean, even when things arrive, there's still a bit of queue at the port, so it takes a bit of time to get those things through. So that's a challenge.
The deadline for completing this re-roofing and shelters project is late July to early August. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
15 to 20 competitors expected to participate in Saturday's in-house audition for the 7th edition of the NCCU's Calypso competition this year.
The deadline for anyone wishing to participate has been extended up to Saturday to facilitate greater numbers.
The mission is still, we still maintain the mission. The mission was in three parts. One, to ensure the music do not die. Two, to motivate young people. And three, to create their product. So we're maintaining that mission. Hopefully we're going to have to, after that show, we're going to have to do a postmortem and look and see how we can move it, do some changes to move it forward. But for now, the mission is the same.
The NCCU launched the Calypso competition in 2012 in an effort to keep that genre of Dominica's music alive. 7 years on, its organizers say the show is maturing well in spite of the challenges, including that posed by Hurricane Maria. The in-house audition in 2017 took place in July. This year, it's being done much earlier.
Any reason you're doing it earlier this year?
Well, yeah, because in fact we've been playing catch-up for last year, so hopefully we can do it much better in time. We had some issues last year. But now we feel also hopeful. That's why we are much earlier now than before.
We asked about the duration of the show itself. The last staging was 6 hours long.
The thing is this, that generally the show should take, it starts at 8:30 and that show should go on until maybe 1 o'clock. So that's basically, that's the kind of forecast that's the kind of plan we're looking at. But hopefully, again, one of the issues we have is sometimes we don't anticipate the changing of the bands. So that can that can create some issues too, you know. So we don't anticipate it. Hopefully we're going to tighten that up much better. And again, we're looking at guest artists. Most likely might be the same person or have somebody. I don't want to say right now, we want to pull the cat out of the bag because we have not finalized the negotiations. But once we do, but the format will be the same, where individuals, maximum 11, and then we have at least 3 bands coming through. And they said they go, a great show, and again I'm glad, I want to say thank you to Martin, who's been with us from the inception, and they've done a great job, and so we hope they will continue to be part with us.
Saturday's in-house audition begins at 9 in the morning at the NCCU's boardroom.
You're watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, a look at partisan politics and post-Hurricane Maria recovery efforts in Marigot. Stay with us. Welcome back. The government-appointed relief coordinator for Marigot, Dayton Baptist, says going into the next hurricane season, he would welcome more collaboration with the Village Council. Baptist, pointing to challenges in the post-disaster response, says by his own effort, he was on the ground assessing the impact on residents' properties.
Going forward, looking at it, we are still in recovery stage, but we are getting there slowly but surely. I think our biggest cry really is shelter. Still have people in shelters, in hurricane shelter, especially in the junior school in Marigot. I think I have about 12 persons still in the shelter there, and other persons we have on the tarpaulin and make-up galvanized on the roof. In my own way, I try my best to see how much I can go to government to assist us in that area, seeing that I was been there before. So I still have a bit of influence in trying to help people, and having that love and compassion for people. I won't sit back and see them in need, and knowing that I can do some assessment and try to help, I continue to do that.
Baptist, a former Labour Party candidate, has expressed commitment to work with everyone for the development of his community.
Since Maria, I was one of the first person on the ground to respond. As a coordinator here, I coordinate the relief for Marigot, Castle Bruce, Calibishi, Woodford Hill, and Wesley. And I could tell you it was a challenging time, but we did make it through. I'm sad that during the hurricane season, that none of the council, the village council, see it fit to ask me to even join a meeting with them in that sort of field. But I took it upon my own, and having the love for people, I would not sit back and see people need help and don't help. But I'm open and ready to work with anybody who is willing to work in that area. And I was looking forward for invitation. When it comes to emergencies, I am very good at that, and anything with emergency, I look forward for a call, because that's where I'm at my best.
In related news, a chairperson of the Marigot Village Council, Egbert Jeremy, is advocating for partisan politics to be put on the back burner as the community picks up the pieces following the September 2017 disaster. Jeremy admits there is division because of political differences.
Presently, I do believe that where Marigot is concerned, we should take out all of the politics now, because we need to move from where we are. What Maria did to us, it doesn't really need any politics now to bring us back where we're supposed to be. It's not Dayton and it's not the village council in Marigot. It is the people who doesn't want to understand what the situation is. They need to just get themselves together and unite to make sure that things happen. The Prime Minister, I'm telling you, as I know, is definitely, I look at him as a humble fella. But the people around him make him look like a monster. Knowing him, talking to him, I have been in the Freedom Party with him a long time ago. I know who Mr. Skerrit is.
Jeremy has debunked claims by Baptiste that he has not been invited to the council's discussions since Hurricane Maria.
Dayton Baptiste, along with the past chairman, who is Mr. Kenneth Samuel, were two of the persons that I actually spoke to personally as to being members of the ORRR. I went to Dayton workplace and I invite him for the first meeting. I went to speak to him. I tell him if he can come to the meeting, and then I didn't see him come to any meeting. Dayton Baptiste, as my brother, I believe there's a lot to learn.
The community leader noted, however, that he and Baptiste can work together since they are actually close friends.
I always talk to him. He's like a brother to me. We grew up together. And he and I always talk this. But what people believe is that this chairman here is a UWP supporter. Nobody will know where I am. And then they knowing that Dayton is Labour. So they will bring some news to him, which I know is not true. And he knows is not true. And after we get the news, we come and we laugh it out. Anybody, it could be Dayton, it could be Lennox, it could be whoever is in the government, whatever it is, that is there to help, I will definitely seek help from them so that Marigot gets on its feet again. I'll be going to Dayton home every day. Once I have to go there to him, and he's the person that I believe that, I'm telling you, if he's Skerrit that can give us what we want, and it's through Dayton, I'm going to accept it all the time. I'll talk to him to get it. Once it's for Marigot people, I'll be doing that.
And the New York-based News America Now network has issued an apology to head of Range Developments, Mohamed Assaria, on a story it ran on Monday, headlined "Caribbean Real Estate Investor Detained in China on Suspicion of Financial Wrongdoing."
News America Now network says the article was a sponsored one from an advertiser that should have appeared with a headline "Sponsored Content" or PR News and not as breaking news. The apology goes on to say that this did not happen because of an editorial misstep on their part, but they apologize sincerely and for the damage this may have caused to Mr. Assaria and Range Development. The news outlet has since taken down the article from across its syndicated network. Prior to the apology, Range Development had issued a statement refuting the claims made in the article. Range also demanded an apology, threatening legal action if the news outlet failed to comply with their demands. Mohamed Assaria provided photographic evidence to prove that he was in fact in Geneva and not in a Chinese jail, as the news outlet reported. The statement released by Range goes on to say that suggestions that Mr. Assaria or his company had been engaged in fraudulent and illegal activities were incorrect and vigorously rejected. It goes on to say that it's obvious the purpose of these articles was to damage Mr. Assaria's reputation and that of Range among investors. Consequently, the company's lawyers insisted on an immediate retraction and the highest possible damages. The allegations first surfaced on a website called MNI Alive, Global Caribbean Media, and was picked up by other media including News America Now and the Jamaica Inquirer.
To end the news, the headlines again. Prime Minister Skerrit open to discussion on medical marijuana. Government presents $1 million to State College to cover student fees. And NCCU Cadaslypso in-house audition carded for Saturday. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Idona Jean Baptiste. Thanks for watching. Join us again tomorrow.